Hey guys, this is Austin. This is the Walmart gaming laptop. Now you might have seen some of the other videos going around on some of their gaming desktops, which are of dubious value and dubious quality, but this one actually might not be too bad. So what makes this special is the price. When it first went on sale only like a few weeks ago, it was $1,000. But we picked this one up for $700, and checking the Walmart.com website right now, it is available for only $600. I mean, take a look at these specs. The i5 is solid, and while the 1050 might not be all that impressive, at $600, this has a lot going for it. If it actually stays $600, that is. So I get that overpowered, a little bit of a cliche for the brand, but this box actually looks kind of cool, I gotta say, it's not bad. So first impressions are pretty decent. It has brushed metal on the front, and the back panel, even though it is plastic, seems very sturdy, especially considering how many vents are here. So while this boots up, let's take a look at what else is inside the box, which I assume for $600, not gonna be a lot. So there's the power adapter, which is here 120 watts. Now with a 1050 and a Core i5 on board, this is not the most powerful of gaming laptops, but should still be able to play a lot of games at pretty reasonable settings at 1080p. So this OP brand has a really bad rap right now, and at $1,000, this laptop does have some pretty major issues. At $600 or $700 though, it's a very different story. So take the processor for example. It's a Core i5 8300H, which means it's quad core, it's 45 watt. This is a proper gaming CPU, no problem. The GTX 1050 on the other hand isn't quite as powerful, so realistically, even though it does have that 144Hz display, and I'll talk about that in a second, it's not really going to be capable of playing a lot of games at that very high resolution, and especially that very high frame rate. But the thing is, it's still way better than pretty much anything else you're finding at this price point. Looking around the laptop, we actually have a pretty decent selection of ports. So I have a pair of USB 3.0, SD card, a pair of mini display, as well as HDMI. We have USB-C, as well as Ethernet, and one more USB 2.0. A mechanical keyboard on a gaming laptop is usually reserved for computers which are much more expensive. Now this is not maybe the greatest keyboard I've ever used. It does have a little bit of that tactile feel, but it also isn't quite as responsive as something like some of those higher end Razer switches. But that being said, it's totally not bad, and we have a fairly wide range of RGB options. So this is the really obnoxious one, but if I switch over to the OP software, I mean, they've definitely got some interesting options. Now, I don't personally care too much as long as I have a backlit keyboard, I'm fine, but the keyboard situation here is really on par with much more expensive laptops. Another point for the Walmart OP gaming laptop. Of course, you can't build a laptop for way cheaper without some sacrifices. Now, based on those desktops, there were some actually pretty major issues, so I'm really curious to see what's inside this guy. I will give them this, it's easy to open up the laptop. All you need to do is undo 16 Phillips screws, and we should be inside in no time. Oh, warranty seal. Aha! So maybe there's 18 screws and I need to remove the seal. All right, I will say having a warranty seal on the bottom of the laptop, even if you want to say add RAM or something, that's kind of ridiculous. Yeah, that's not okay. With our warranty voided, let's see what we've got inside the laptop. That's, okay. So, first of all, we've got our 2.5-inch hard drive. We've got a fairly small 46 watt-hour battery. There's our Intel wireless card. So underneath this little flap, we have a single 8 gig DIMM of RAM. Under the other, it is empty, so you could theoretically upgrade this pretty easily. We also do have our 128 gig NVMe SSD, or at least it's an M2. I doubt it's probably still SATA. But what's kind of impressive is we actually have an entirely unused SSD slot. So very easily, you could upgrade this with another SSD, with some more memory. You could even probably swap out this hard drive without too much trouble. So not only do we have a pair of fans, but we have 3 heat pipes, as well as a heatsink on the left side, on the top, another one on the top, and another one on the side. Now, I haven't gotten into any gaming yet, but especially with only a GTX 1050 inside, this looks to be more than adequate. So if we jump into a quick game of Fortnite, there's a few things that jump out to me. First of all, 1080p medium, we are getting 70 to 80 frames per second. Sure, it's not going to be taking advantage of that full 144Hz refresh rate, but it is a lot better than a normal display. I mean, even on the Walmart website, they show this is the only gaming laptop with a 144Hz screen for $999, even though now the price is $599. And speaking of the display, it is really nice. So not only is it very vibrant, the colors especially look very accurate. No, you don't, no, you don't, no, you don't, no, you don't, no, you don't. I wanna go get him. I wanna go get him. No, I'm gonna get him. It's not worth it if you're fighting. Oh! Oh, no, you don't, no, you don't. No, you do not. No, you do not. I got a full... Yes! Yes! I did it! I did it! So one of the issues with only having 2 gigs of RAM for that 1050 is that, for example, here in Black Ops, we're almost out of RAM. I'm curious to see how well this actually performs. So with the resolution turned down to about 900p, we are getting a pretty playable frame rate. It's actually in the 60 to 70 range. The main issue here is that because the 1050 only does have 2 gigs of RAM, it does limit kind of how high we can actually crank the settings here. Watch, it's basically limiting the GPU at 66. I would not want it to throttle at 66. I would be okay with this thing living at 70, 75 all day. That's not enough to worry me. I would much rather have the quieter fans, I suppose. So Overwatch is actually a pretty good game for this system. So we're at 1080p high, and right now we're getting about 80 to 90 frames per second. Definitely well in the range of that 144 hertz display. Hamster Dude coming in hot. There you go. Hamster Dude's fun, man. Hamster Dude's really fun. OP are almost certainly losing money on every single one of these they sell at $600. And yes, you are taking a little bit of a risk by going with a fairly brand new and unknown company. But considering just what you're getting for this kind of price, it's hard to go wrong.